And hello again, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Art Fennell Reports. I'm Art Fennell. Tonight, we are talking housing again. And let me begin with a number, 23.5 million. Is that what the Powerball jackpot is up to? No. Is it the number the Philadelphia Eagles are offering Deshaun Jackson? Don't be silly. Unfortunately, 23.5 million is the number that reflects the sad state of affairs when it comes to the housing market. 23.5 million is the number of Americans who are either underwater on their mortgage, meaning that they owe more on their house than the house is actually worth. They're seriously delinquent on their payments, or they've already been foreclosed on and have lost everything. It is a sad state of affairs. Take a look at the breakdown on the chalkboard. Now, the housing market, let's add it up. 14.6 million people are underwater right now, 14.6. 5.2 have been foreclosed on or they had to sell in a distressed sale state. And 3.7 million are seriously delinquent. That all adds up to a total of 23.5 million people. So all of that said, what can be done to try and save the housing market? Well, in the September issue of Time magazine, I have a copy right here. It's the one with former Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi on the cover. They talked to some of the country's leading economic and housing experts to try and get 4 radical ideas that they think might just work. Again, radical ideas, non-traditional. We're going to explore those ideas and get some feedback on it. Joining me to help break it all down for me are 2 men very familiar with the woeful state of our housing market. Mark Mairone is here. He's the owner of Homeowners Consulting. That's an organization that works to modify home loans. Also, Gary Mercer is back on the program, president of the Gary Mercer Group. Gary is one of the top real estate agents in the country. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. And for coming to share your insight and expertise as we continue to try and update, as we say, the sad state of the housing market. I'll begin with, before we get to these radical ideas from Time magazine, and you've both read the article. Well, I'll begin with a question on, and I always ask you this, Gary, are things beginning to look up yet? Can we see around the corner? What do you see?
Well, I think we can, Art. There is some hope out there. The numbers for August in our area were up, but it's still a challenging market out there. The good news is our interest rates are at an all-time low. The supply is at a high level. So there are plenty of homes for people to choose. The
interest rates have been going down and down. What are they now, like 3-point-something% right now as of last week?
That's correct. In the low 4s for a conventional loan and in the 3s if you're paying points.
And Mark, as you see things, things beginning to look up, do you see any hope around the horizon?
I've been seeing some things loosening up, especially with the modifications. The banks are finally starting to get things together. They are giving the principal reductions, which really is helping the value market go down and keeping the values of where they're supposed to be. And also with the rates that they're offering people, and also extending the term of the loan.
Yeah, and because again, I mean, the drastic times call for drastic measures, which is what we want to talk about. And again, you guys each had a chance to read this. I thought this article was very interesting. Time magazine, and they laid out the case for 4 radical ideas that they think might help. Let's go through them one by one, and then I want you guys to react to each of them, because you're our local experts here. And the first one that they put up, let's put up the first one right here. They want you to either refinance or cut your loan principals. Now, basically what they're saying is this, and I'm going to read an excerpt from the article. It says, there are ways around that problem. The easiest fix is to refinance home mortgages at today's historically low interest rates. But a combination of bad credit, underwater loans, and banks' reflexive fear of post-collapse lending means that refinancing is much tougher than it used to be. Okay? Can anyone just walk in and refinance if they say, hey, look, we just want to refinance our home? Not so easily done, though, right?
Well, I think you can refinance provided you have job security and you're a safer risk for the banks. Refinancing is a good way to reduce principal payments and therefore reduce debt structure and consolidation of debt. That's always a good thing because that will help the homeowner in the payments.
Yeah, but I think what they want to do here is to have anyone be able to walk in and just refinance, you know, without penalty, without having to make the typical way that you would do it. This would be like a special deal where you can just come in and refinance your home. Would that be a good idea, Mark?
I think that with regulating the market right now, especially with the mortgages and with the loans, we don't want to go back to where we came from, where anyone can just walk into a bank and get a loan that you and I both know most of the people could not afford. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I think the best way to go along with this is the principal should be basically be taken down, and also the modification should be done also.
Well, let's talk about the modification, because they also say here that what they would do, another idea would be to cut the principal on the mortgage. Basically, you would get it reduced. The government would come in and give a subsidy to help offset whatever your mortgage has been cut. And then you begin to pay lower payments because you have a lower principal now to pay. But then there's always the issue, if you're not working, then is it going to help you? You can't pay a mortgage even if it is reduced, can you, Mark?
That is correct. And some of the banks right now are offering the 12-month stay, which is allowing the people to stay in the homes. The foreclosure process is slowed down, and then what they do, it gives the homeowner opportunity to look for employment for 12 months. They are also doing that for our soldiers overseas right now who are fighting for our country, and that should absolutely, without a question in my mind, should be done. And
that's part of what you do with loan modifications. You go in and you try to find ways to help keep people in their homes, correct?
That is correct.
And tell me, just walk me through just a bit of that.
Well, the average homeowner, for number one, they are scared, okay, and they're desperate. They're basically looking at foreclosure where they raised their kids, had Christmases, holidays, birthday parties, shared a lot of family times in the home. When the homeowner is basically put up against an application, sometimes during the application process, the homeowner is desperate and they're not correctly giving a complete application or an honest application of what's being done with their hardships.
And you guys come in and then you try and find where the soft spots are, and you essentially negotiate for them on their behalf with the loan company.
And that is correct. That's what we do at our office. We basically put all the paperwork correctly, in line, filing the process and basically submitting a proper loan modification to the banks all at one time.
Gotcha.